Hey YouTube, this is Are here again with another video. This one is entitled an article that was printed Tuesday, August 11, 2020, and it says, Key West police arrested an 8-year-old at school. His wrists were too small for the handcuffs. Police officer at a Florida elementary school arrested an 8-year-old boy who allegedly hit a teacher, only to realize the boy's wrists were too small for the handcuffs. Part of the Key West police body cam footage of December 2018 arrest was released on Monday by civil rights attorney Ben Crump, who is representing the boy's mother. On Tuesday, she filed a lawsuit claiming that the officers used excessive force, that school officials failed to intervene, and that the city and school district violated the Americans with Disabilities Act. The lawsuit says the boy has special needs. Key West police declined to comment to CNN, citing the litigation, but in a statement to the Miami Herald on Monday, Key West Police Chief Sean T. Brandenburg said that his officers did nothing wrong and that they followed standard operating procedures. Now, if that's true, they need to update those operating procedures, because an 8-year-old who had allegedly punched a teacher, a substitute teacher, should not be put in handcuffs. And as I'll continue to read, you'll find out exactly what they did to this little boy. The mother, Bianca N. DeGennaro, said in a Zoom press conference Tuesday that her son was arrested, taken to jail, fingerprinted, DNA swabbed, and had his mugshot taken that day. So this is an 8-year-old boy that allegedly punched a substitute teacher who was treated like he actually was a criminal. Okay? Obviously has no prior convictions. The boy, who was 3.5 feet tall and weighed 64 pounds, Crump said, was charged with felony battery. His mother fought the case in court for 9 months until a prosecutor dismissed the charges. Not only was that a waste of money on the part of the city, and also for the mother, but to actually not use common sense and not look at the situation for what it is a child that has a disability that reacted. And as I read further, you'll get I'll read to you what actually happened and how the school failed to intervene and how the police failed to de-escalate the situation and say, listen, this is a matter for school policy and punishment, and perhaps you need to suspend him for a day, or have his parents come and get him, and hopefully they discipline him or whatever, and have a conversation with the school principal and the teacher, a substitute teacher, and make the little boy apologize or whatever. But they failed to do the common sense things, and it got this far. He says, Crump, Devon Jacob, and Sue Robinson are representing DeGennaro in the lawsuit. This is a heartbreaking example of how our educational and policing systems train children to be criminals by treating them like criminals. If convicted, the child in the case would have been a convicted felon at 8 years old. That's outrageous. But they want to act like these teachers and these police officers don't have common sense, and they're just doing their jobs, and they're purposefully, incriminating children that have no idea of the consequences of their actions on this level. They may understand, okay, time out, after school suspension, you get suspended for school for a day, stand in the corner, that kind of stuff. But to actually take this child to a police station and do what they did, right? And they actually arrested him, took him to jail, fingerprinted him, DNA swabbed him, and had his mugshot taken the same day. Tell me nobody that from the time the police got there, the school didn't intervene. It's obvious this child is a minority, right? Because if this was probably not a minority child or a child of color, this would not have gone as far as it did. But this right here just is another iteration in my belief. I believe that this Black Lives Matter, it wasn't going on then to this extent, but we all know that black children, children of color, are treated terribly, and adults and as adults as well in those same categories are treated terribly in this country. And this is an example of how the systematic racism is so entrenched and ingrained not only in the infrastructure of this country, but in the minds and the psyches of people, non-minority people or white people. Okay, I'm just going to put it out there. Jacob DeGennaro's attorney said that Chief's comments that this was standard arrest was precisely the issue. Exactly. That is the problem. That is why we have this lawsuit. This is going to come to an end with this litigation, he said. Monroe County Chief Assistant State Attorney Val E. Winters said in an email that a mental health evaluation was conducted on the boy in conjunction with his attorney, and that determined it was the child's best interest to dismiss the charges based on the boy's age and mental evaluation. Why do we have to spend money on these kind of things, right? When we know, you listen to the parents, he has no prior convictions, you know, of course not. You know, if they had looked at his school record or had talked to his teachers and the principal and said, well, we really don't have problems with him, but you know, let's just discipline him appropriately and hope this doesn't happen again. You know, that kind of thing. The case was dismissed once the office received confirmation of services based on the doctor's report, Winter said. Even if he didn't have ADHD, they still shouldn't have done that. That's just 8 years old. Come on, no, let's treat them like children. Let's not elevate them or treat them like they're, you know, young adults, 18, 21, 22. Let's not treat them that way, because we know for a fact in this country that we have grown people that commit felons over and over and over and over until they actually murder somebody. Whether they're black or white, don't make a difference. They continuously commit crimes, and they're handled differently than a person in a minority or a person of color. So we don't want to hear this mess about, oh, because of the doctor's report, we decided we weren't going to prosecute him. He's 8 years old. It's crazy. Monroe County School District declined to comment. The elementary school did not respond to the request for comment. The teacher was not able to be reached. What the police report and videos show. Police moved to arrest the boy after he allegedly hit a teacher who was uninjured, according to a Key West police report. Crump identified the teacher as a substitute. The teacher was supervising the class in the lunchroom and said that the student was not sitting properly on the bench seat. Sitting properly? What does that mean? How do you sit properly? What, you know, face in front, your hands right here, meal in front of you, and you just doing this? You know, your kids are in a lunchroom, they're enjoying themselves, they're eating their lunch. So she was picking on this little boy. This substitute teacher was picking on this little boy. Oh, he wasn't sitting properly. So what if he was straddling the seat and wasn't sitting the way you would like him to sit? He's an 8-year-old kid who obviously has some kind of attention deficit disorder that they're kind of fidgety anyway. Boys are not girls. They're not going to sit sit in a chair and play with a doll. Boys want to be running and jumping. I mean, you know what I'm saying? They're not like little girls. Little girls are taught to do things, you know, the little girls are taught to do. Little boys are taught to run outside, go and burn all that energy off, be aggressive. That's how they become men, you know. This is just bullpucky. Say the little boy was not sitting properly on the bench seat, the report says. She asked him to sit properly several times, and then she asked him to sit by her, the report says. He refused, and she got up and walked over to him, according to the police report. She told police that the student told her, "Don't put your hands on me," as she approached him. The student allegedly began to curse at her. That's what she said. Told her, "My mom is going to beat your $, $. Then punched her in the chest with his right hand. The teacher said, according to the police report, an officer observed the boy's hands clenched into fists, and he was postured as if he was ready to fight, the police report. Of course he was. He's being attacked by these grown people, and ain't nobody there to protect him, so he gonna protect himself. That's natural instinct. It says the teacher did not sustain any obvious injuries from a punch. An 8-year-old punch you in the chest. All you gonna do is put him over your knee and carry him to detention. You ain't finna have him arrested. You know what I'm saying? The portion of the police body cam footage provided by Crump begins afterward as 3 officers moved to arrest the boy who was sitting and crying. 3 officers. So, and this is what he said, "Son, you know where you are going. You're going to jail," one officer says. The officer asked him to put his hands up against the cabinet and then pat the boy down, the video shows. The officer then asks the boy to put his hands behind his back, and he complies. The officer then tries to put handcuffs on the boy, but realizes the handcuffs will not fit his wrist. Your hands are too small, the officer says. The officer instead asks him to hold his hands in front of himself. The video shows, and they then appear to walk him towards a police vehicle, but the video ends before they reach the vehicle. You understand this is very serious, okay? A different officer says. I hate that you put me in this position that I have to do this, okay? All right? The thing about it is you made a mistake. Now it's time to learn from it and grow from it, right? Not repeating the same mistake again, okay? So if he knew it was a mistake, he knew that this was a time for him to learn, right? Then what he should have said was, Principal, Mr. Principal, you guys are going to handle this. This is an 8-year-old boy who allegedly punched this lady in the, lunchroom monitor in the chest. And what you're going to do is you're going to handle this at this level, and don't ever call a police department again for an 8-year-old child that done something like this. And the school should have been cited and fined so that they can handle these type of things in-house, right? Oh, this is just really makes me upset. Key West police said that they are not releasing the full body cam video to CNN because the person is a juvenile. Oh, he's a juvenile. Suddenly you are recognizing his age. He's a baby. Mother, boy has special needs. DeGennaro said her son has been diagnosed with ADHD, oppositional defiant disorder, depression, and anxiety, and he is taking medication for them. When he starts to have an episode, as she says occurred in this incident, he becomes sensitive to anyone touching him, she said. That's why he said, don't touch me. In February 2018, the school district conducted an evaluation of the boy and classified him as having an emotional and behavioral disability. According to the lawsuit, the school district has also developed an individualized education program tailored to his needs, the lawsuit says. In a statement, Crump said the teacher had no awareness or concern about the needs of an escalated situation. That's right, she didn't. The police report does not indicate that he had special needs, and it is unclear whether the teacher or police officer were aware of his disability. That's because the school did not engage the police properly and get involved with a situation that happened on their campus. They just like, oh, whatever, take him away. We don't want to be bothered. Jacob, the family's attorney, criticized the actions of the police involved in the incident. As a former police officer, I am appalled by the conduct of these officers, he said. Their actions and treatment of this young boy, aside from being inappropriate, deviate from widely accepted police procedures regarding the treatment of minors and disabled persons. Crump, who also represents George Floyd's family, said the boy is biracial with an Italian mother and an African-American father. So he's mixed. Yeah, he's a child of color. We are trying to fight for Bianca DeGennaro's little boy, but also for other marginalized little children who the system will try to put on the school to pipeline even before reaching their teens, he said. DeGennaro said her son, now 10, is doing better, but that the incident was traumatic. I'm heartbroken this happened to my son, she said. I'm just here for my son because I refuse to let them make him a criminal or convicted felon at the age of 8. I'll leave the link to this article in the description box. Hallelujah and shalom.